So there's something to synchronize with. So Daniel, we're here in beautiful Malta, and the boat in the background is that yours?
Not yet. No, it's really hard to find a spot in Malta where you don't have boats. So right now we are here in Birgu, which is one of the three cities. And they happen to have a lot of boats here.
Yeah.
So basically you have like the three cities here in Malta. And then really close by you have the capital called Valletta. So you can just take a ferry over to Valletta.
Yeah.
Because this is like what we do. We have this idea that we all live in one neighborhood together. So those are the three cities. And then the co-working space is Valletta, so you just take a ferry over to Valletta. It's a 5-minute ride for €1.50. So it's probably the most beautiful commute in the world.
Yeah. And I know that you've been here a few years, but tell me a little bit about how CoCoHub started.
So actually I came here as a tourist already 10 years ago, and then on and off a few months. And 3 years ago I came again, and I wanted to work from here because actually I'm a software guy and I just wanted to go to a co-working. And I did a quick Google search and I found out there is no co-working yet. So I was like, hey, let's open a co-working. But I quickly figured out that it's kind of boring to run a co-working space because it's pretty hard to compete against good ones, and there are already quite a lot of co-working spaces out there. But in Malta was no one. So then we had this idea, okay, but if people come to Malta, and probably they also need a place where to stay. And before I was living in a living community, in different living communities in Germany for 8 years. So we had the idea, okay, let's just export the idea of our German living community idea to Malta. So this was the approach. And then we just got a house here in 2017 for 8 people. And we called it Digital Nomad House. So this is how we started. And then I wrote an article that we started the first Digital Nomad House on a tiny rocky island in the middle of the Mediterranean. And the website called Hacker News from J Combinator, they wrote about us on Twitter. And this is how basically we were booked out for the first 6 months. So there was a lot of luck, and this is how we started it. Yeah.
But now it's not only in Malta. You're expanding to different cities around the world.
Yeah. I mean, right now we have like 10 or 15 cities which are hotspots for nomads. We all know them, Chiang Mai, Bali, and so on and so forth. But if you just see what will happen in the future, the number of location-independent people, they will just explode. There will be a lot of people who want to travel and work at the same time, but those 15 cities, they are not enough. And when we were promoting Malta as a good place for digital nomads, we figured out it's quite hard. So usually it takes like 2 years through social media, through Instagram mainly, to put a city on a map for the digital nomads. So it's quite hard. And also approaching the problem how to start a community in a city which is not yet on the map by opening a hostel or a co-living, it's maybe not the most efficient approach, and it's actually quite hard. And I met so many people who want to start co-livings, but just because of the reason that they want to start communities. And we figured out after 2 years and hosting 350 digital nomads in Malta that there might be a more intelligent approach to do it. And we want to help people like us to do the same. Because what you need to know is marketing, you need to know legal aspects, of course you need to know how to change bed sheets, hospitality, and there are so many aspects where you need to be fit in order to start a co-living. So it's really quite hard. And all those learnings and also the failures we had, we put into software and offering like people who want to promote their cities as a digital nomad place and give them the tools so they can do it.
So if people who are watching this think that this might be a cool thing to get a co-living place here in my city, wherever they are around the world, what should they do?
hmm So, first of all, you need to be in love with the place. I guess this is what you need. Um, and the first thing what you need to do is contact us. So usually what we do, people come over as community managers and we see if it fits with the vibe. Because CoCoHub is a place, first of all, where you experience freedom. So how it started, I came here to Malta and I was actually staying in a kind of hippie commune slash hostel. And I was so inspired by the vibe there that this is basically the baseline what CoCoHub should be all around the world. This is a place where the thinking is challenged and the status quo is challenged. Yeah. And yeah, the concept behind is like right now in this co-living industry is you have community managers and you have nomads. So there is a clear difference between those two. Nomads pay in order to be kind of entertained, and I think it's not a sustainable way of doing it. Because then it always has like an event character, but in the long run, if we take a look in the next 10 years, this will fade, those events. It will just become a normal way of living. So there should be no differentiation between a community manager and a nomad, because everyone has a superpower to share. And we need to make the barriers of entry as low as possible. So everyone can become a leader of the community, maybe just for one day. That's enough. And that's the goal of CoCoHub, to empower actually people instead of just consuming, also offering their skills.
And for somebody like me, because I am a full-time nomad, I've been doing it for 3 years, and I organize everything myself, find a place to stay, and go look for a co-working space if I need that. But I like to be part of a community. I've been that in some parts of my trip. What's the sell the idea to somebody like me?
Yes. First of all, everyone is welcome at CoCoHub. So
You don't need to be a full-time nomad.
no, you don't need to be, because most of the people are not full-time nomads actually. Maybe just 5% of the people who came to CoCoHub were nomads. Most of the people, they are employed with normal companies and now they have the freedom to start and actually travel and work at the same time. So they just try it out for 1 month, 2 months, and this is also what will happen in the future. So I don't see, no, what I see is that companies not only will offer 20 or 30 days of paid holiday in a year, they will also offer 3 months of travel allowance or co-living allowance, because this is a great marketing tool in order to attract skilled people.
And I take it that one of the things that I can be sure of is to get the more or less the best Wi-Fi possible.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So what we did now, we identified 800 cities which might be interesting.
Did you say 800?
Yes, 800. Like we analyzed over 500,000 data points in order to find out what are actually not only the cities which might be interesting for nomads, also the neighborhood. For example, this neighborhood is the best. So we identified those neighborhoods. They are always 1.5 kilometer in radius. In the middle you have the best co-working space, which means whenever you come to a city which is not on the map for digital nomads yet, you are sure that you will find a great community there. So the center is the co-working space, and all the accommodations are based around this co-working space.
So I guess that's a long-term plan to get 800 CoCoHubs around the world. But what do you see the future bringing, just in the near future?
So it all starts with our ambassadors or community managers. Like there should always be one person who really, really wants to push this particular city. So this is the driving force. And right now we are just overwhelmed with inquiries. Hey, I want to open a like a community. So it always starts with a community. And out of this community, something can develop. You can open a co-living space, you can open a co-working space, but you start as lean as possible. And the feedback which we get is just stunning. Like it's really hard to handle, and so the demand is enormous, especially as we approach it like as a foundation and not for profit. So the community itself should not be commercialized. Human interactions, because this is what it all boils down to. When people came to CoCoHub, the time they spent outside connecting to other people, this is why they fell in love with CoCoHub. And yeah.
And for people who want to get in touch with Daniel and the rest of the team, just go to the link that's posted somewhere in this video or below.
Yeah. Just enter CoCoHub and in this particular city, and there you have a button where you can reach out to us. And the thing is, we have a direct WhatsApp link on each landing page for each city, which means you can straight chat with us on WhatsApp.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.